Hey everybody, it's Matt from Concept Properties. I'm here with Brendan Chauret. You heard me right, that is the Brendan Chauret from Titan Insurance. Thanks for coming to the office today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're talking to Brendan about both commercial insurance, so insuring real estate portfolios, insuring regular, just multifamily buildings. We're also going to talk to him a little bit about business insurance, so like business owner policies, general liabilities, things like that. Brendan actually places all of Concept Properties insurance, so I've worked with him very in depth on what our company should be covered for and what types of things we need to look out for. And also he works with quite a few of our clients on insuring their investment properties. So we thought it'd be great to bring Brendan in. Actually, where we'll pick it up is we had a question that our litigating attorney, Ed, said would be better to answer by an insurance guy. We said Brendan particularly. So let's just jump in right on that question.
Hopefully I answered this one right.
Yes, exactly. So the question came up is, so we have a lot of first-time investors. Okay. And they're buying their first multi-unit building. And one of the things that we always get asked is, what happens if someone trips and falls down the stairs? How, am I covered? Am I at risk? Am I putting my future at risk by some event that's unknown that might happen and cost me for the rest of my life?
Definitely, you're 100% at risk. If you own a property or own a multi-unit property, investment property, whatever it may be, and someone slips and falls down the stairs, gets hurt, cracks their head open, whatever it may be, they're combined to a wheelchair. A lot of things can happen. We've seen so many things like this happen, especially up in New England with the ice on the stairs, and people not maintaining their properties correctly. So what happens is your liability on your policy is a very, very important thing to have. So your liability limits that you carry. A lot of times on policies, people just will write a standard $300,000 liability, but what they don't understand is that to increase it from $300,000 to $500,000 to $1 million and pop it in an umbrella is a small cost. Really? It's very, very fractional. It's almost pennies on the dollar.
Really?
To do something like that. For example, to have a $300,000 liability on your policy may cost $200 a year. To increase it to $1 million may increase it another $50 a year.
Yeah, so it's absolutely worth it.
It's 100% worth it. And on top of that, you are liable for this. And on these multi-unit properties, you have a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
So it's very important to maintain a good high limit of liability. And if not, I would definitely recommend carrying an umbrella policy to go over and above that, just in case the unforeseen happens or any catastrophic loss happens.
Yeah. So catastrophic loss, is that different than just a regular loss? Is that covered differently, or how is that a specific thing?
On a catastrophic loss is what I was pertaining to was referencing was, like, for example, like a huge loss.
Got it.
But if you're asking me on an insurance standpoint on a catastrophe loss would be like, for example, a hurricane comes in and they cat code it. Okay. It's catastrophe coded.
Oh, okay.
Meaning that it doesn't affect insurance rates down the line. It doesn't affect your insurability. It doesn't affect anything like in order to purchase new insurance. It doesn't affect rates. It's like if like a big snowstorm comes in and affects a large number of people, like an act of God. Or like your forest fires, frozen, like heavy freezing within the area that's uncontrollable.
Got it.
Huge snowstorm, blizzard, hurricane, they're all cat coded. Hailstorms.
And they won't increase your rate is what you're saying.
Exactly. Okay. That's what on a catastrophe. But what I was referring to for like a catastrophic loss would be, someone slipping and falling and dying on your property.
Like super unforeseen, like couldn't have ever guessed that was going to happen.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. But still need to be covered for.
100%.
Gotcha.
100%.
Okay.
Always be covered.
Yes, always be covered. ABC.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so first-time home buyers or first-time investors should look at their limits and make sure that they're covered for a little bit more than, let's say, what they would cover their personal primary residence for. Because if you slip and fall on your own stairs, you're not going to sue yourself, right?
Correct.
Is there a difference?
Yeah, well, there is a difference. I mean, and that's a good question. Is that under your personal policy, you do have your personal liability. If someone comes over to your home, slips and falls,
yeah, that's much different.
you have that. But on your personal property, there's not as much as exposure. You can control the people that are coming over. You know who's coming over. On an investment property, you could have 16 units. You could have some college kids living in there that are throwing a party.
Yeah.
They overserve somebody. One of your tenants overserves somebody. He leaves, gets into a car wreck, or wrecks into a guy, or crashes into a guy walking across a crosswalk and kills a guy.
Yeah.
Well, guess who the liability could fall under? It could easily come back to you as the property owner.
Wow.
So it's liability is key, especially for maintaining a long-term business and maintaining your equity and maintaining your retirement, your nest egg. Liability is key, and the cost of, like I said before, of having the extra limits of liability is 100% worth it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. So on both the insuring of investment properties and the insuring of businesses, what are some common misconceptions, some things that you're frequently educating people on when you consult them for their insurance policy?
So a lot of times people think that own a business, they think, okay, well, we're going to get our BOP policy, business owner's policy, general liability, okay? And a lot of times they don't understand that a regular general liability policy they think it covers all their professional liability, their cyber coverage, crime coverage, things like that. Sometimes these policies have small limits built into it, but they're not enough in a sense that if something catastrophic or something large were to happen. So, and your general liability policy actually excludes your professional liability.
Really? So professional liability, what is that?
Errors and omissions.
Okay.
Errors and omissions coverage. So, and also what a lot of people do not do is include their employee practices liability coverage, which covers for discrimination or wrongful termination, things like that, that you can include in the general liability for obviously an increased premium amount. But I see a lot of policies all the time that people exclude that because they look at the cost of it and they say, oh wait, I don't need that. But what happens is when you don't have it, something always happens.
Yeah.
But when you have it, it doesn't happen for some reason. But
there's some rule out there that probably Stephen Hawking knows about that would explain that to us. But
exactly.
Yeah, but I know that just from being a business owner is when we were first talking is the specific difference between what does E&O cover and what does it not cover, and that was an educational experience for me. So I know that having somebody to walk you through each step and let you know, all right, this is kind of the aspects that are encompassed in this policy or in this type of a policy, but it excludes these other things, which in some businesses can be very necessary. Like you mentioned, cyber, right?
Correct.
Cyber is huge. I mean, wire fraud is one of the biggest things that's most common right now. So
yeah. So for example, I mean, if your business deals with a lot of wire transactions, credit card transactions, there's a lot of money being passed over the internet, which today
it's common. It's everybody.
I mean, no one deals with cash anymore.
Exactly. Or checkbooks now.
Or checkbooks. So there's a lot of that going around right now, and you need to make sure you're covered for these things, and these are coverages that have been implemented in the last 20, 25 years. That on the cyber side that have become more mainstream because everything is revolved around that, and then plus like hacking of your business, things like that. It covers all of that. Another thing I like to bring up, which a lot of people don't understand that is on their general liability policy that they need to add, is their business property, personal property. So if you have an office space that you are insuring, you have your general liability policy, which if you just carry the GL, very inexpensive, right? But you got to make sure you're covering your office supplies, your computers, your build out of your office to make sure you're properly covered. And again, just like with the liability side of things that I mentioned earlier, to increase your business property from 50,000 to 100,000, the cost is very, very minimal. People think it's going to be a huge difference, but it's always good to ask questions.
So when people are placing a policy, would you recommend getting, a couple different tiers, or what's a kind of a good best practice for people that are either insuring their portfolio or their investment property or insuring their business? What would you say always do, no matter what company you're talking to?
Is when getting a quote, ask, does this cover my liability, my general liability? Does this cover my business property? Does this cover my cyber coverage, my crime coverage? And for people like real estate professionals, attorneys, financial advisors, things like that, does this have products liability, errors and omissions? And see if any of that stuff, all that stuff is included within your policy. Most likely, the answer would be no, and then you would have to either add it to the policy as an endorsement, or depending on the size of your business, you would need to purchase separate policies for those certain coverages.
Got it.
So,
and you run into that, I'm sure, pretty frequently, right? Where somebody's business truly needs some coverage, and their regular liability or E&O will just cover like 3 out of 5.
correct.
And then you just need to add on these extra things.
I find gaps all the time.
Yeah.
It just happened so.
Yeah.
I was with an individual that I was taking care of his insurance. 20 minutes before I got here, we met this morning, and he had gaps everywhere.
Yeah.
And we go in there and we take care of those gaps. Yeah, the cost is goes up.
Yeah.
People don't like to pay for insurance, but if you don't have it, like I said, it happens, and it'll protect your livelihood of your company.
Yeah.
I
I think that's the most important thing, is just to have
100%.
the long-term view on what the downside could potentially be. And when you're talking about only a few $100s a year in some cases, to protect the long-term, viability of your business, it makes sense in that type of a horizon.
100%.
Yeah.
You protect your home, you protect your cars, you protect your assets. I mean, your business is your assets, your livelihood. That's how you are able to afford your home.
Yeah.
And your
Cars.
And your food.
Yeah, exactly.
And your vacations, all types of things.
Exactly.
I mean,
You've got to do it.
You've got to do it.
So, well, that's excellent. So, I have another quick question for you. So, with Titan Insurance, did they insure your mustache, or are you just winging it?
So no. This thing is very, very highly insured. It became kind of a joke for a little bit. Well, I was growing out a beard.
Yeah.
And just happened so that as I was shaving off the beard, someone mentioned to me, "Hey, you should grow a mustache." They didn't think I'd rock a mustache for a number of days.
There you go.
But knowing me,
it's grown on you.
It's grown on me for the last couple of days, and I'm going to keep it through the weekend.
There you go.
Going up to New Hampshire, do a little skiing.
There you go. You fit in.
And I'll fit right in. It'll come off, maybe.
Eventually.
I don't know, but it is growing on me.
I like it. I think you keep it.
But I may add a policy on it later on.
There you go. You should. If it becomes if it becomes part of your business, where people bring you in for the mustache experience,
Oh, absolutely.
then you need to insure it.
Absolutely.
Umbrella that.
Umbrella. It is an umbrella.
It's part of the brand.
It's part of the brand. Insure the brand.
It's protecting my teeth.
There you go. Okay, we got way off the side there. Sorry. Okay, bring it back.
Bring it back in here.
So what's one of the things that sets Titan apart from other carriers? Or I guess a better question is what specialties do you offer your clients?
So what I like to say is, why use Titan Insurance over a captive agent? So Titan Insurance, we're a broker. We're appointed with over 35 carriers we can write directly with. So we have a menu of options for our clients that allow us to look at the client's need and place our client with the correct insurance company that fits their need and the type of coverage they have. Not everybody's the same.
Yeah.
So not everyone's going to fit with that certain carrier. What I'm able to do is find the best coverage options for you, find the best price, and with the right company.
Okay.
That's what I enjoy, and that's why I say use Titan Insurance.
And that's not common with every single person that you call, right? Every single carrier that you call.
No, a lot of times people, a
You
lot of
said a
agents.
captive agent. What is a captive agent?
Captive agents works for one carrier.
Oh, okay.
So one large company, they sell their brand,
Got it. Okay.
and they're forced to sell that brand. I'm not forced to sell one carrier. I can sell a number of different carriers
Got
and
it.
find better options for my clients.
Okay, that's excellent.
Because there are carriers out there that have certain restrictions and certain guidelines, and they can only reach maximum amounts on liability or coverages.
Well, that's a good. What's the craziest thing you've ever insured then? Because you must get a lot of
Sure.
particular kind of like a la carte type of insurance things.
You'd be surprised. I mean, we come. I mean, things come across our desks. Like I got a call a couple days ago to insure a Can-Am vehicle, like off-road racing machine that this guy races in the Baja, and he needed insurance on. I got a call the other day to insure like an outdoor world, like a Bass Pro Shop that asks for. They allow gun ranges. They allow. Fishing. They have events out there.
All
They
on
have
site?
They have restaurants. They have a bar. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So generally, like
Alcohol, firearms, water.
everything. Yep.
The whole spread
The
of
whole spread of
liability.
things. Boats. This is in Texas, and
wow.
and hunting. So you're like, wait, how do we classify this? I mean, it's generally someone has a restaurant, or generally someone has a store. Generally, someone has an event center, but this place is all in one.
Oh wow!
And it's on a number of acres. So, talk about insuring that. It's going to take a while, but
you have to go through the process.
But we're going to go through the process, and
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. And we will find someone to insure it.
There you go.
Anyway.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I really liked about going through the different policy options with you, is that there were multiple options. It wasn't here's the rate, here's the coverage. It was here's the best option, here's a couple more, here's a few variables of the types of coverage. So it was just like it was a great menu of things, like you said, to use your word. It's a great menu of things to review. So where it really felt like the coverage we got is exactly tailored to what the company needs.
Actually, makes me feel better about
There
my
you
day.
go.
Sleeping better at night.
That's good. I mean, it makes all the difference, especially when you need it.
Absolutely.
As soon as that day comes when you need to have coverage and you need something, does happen, you think all the way back to 3 years ago when you were going over the things that would never happen.
Correct.
And then you say, okay, well, this actually happened, and I'm pumped. I've been covered for it. So.
Yep. I just like to be able to offer options.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
How fast is your fastest fastball?
I topped out at 96.
96?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Did you have your arm insured?
I wish. I wish.
That would have been good.
Yeah. In college, I topped out at 96. So
Oh, wow.
I wish I had my arm insured because I'd have a lot more money right now. But after 2 surgeries, it's died down. But actually, I can throw a golf ball 170 yards.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that's documented on video.
All right, man. Well, again, this is Brendan Chauret from Titan Insurance, and we're glad that he was able to come down. And if you have any questions for Brendan, just put them in the comments section, and we'll maybe do a follow-up video where he can answer directly, some questions, or just reach out to you directly through social media and answer your question right there. So thanks for your time, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.